AI is not your relationship coach, is not your therapist. ChatGPT cannot be because it doesn't have a body or a nervous system. You cannot attune your whole physical system to that of a computer or a language model. The brilliance of sitting with another person in therapy or mentorship is that they also have a felt sensed experience of what it's like when you get in a fight with your husband, or when you swallow your voice and choke on your words and go blank and don't know what to say, or when you start crying in the middle of a hard conversation with your boss. AI understands the concept of that, but it doesn't actually understand how that feels. And you are here to feel. As humans, we are designed to feel. That is what makes us so different from everything else on this planet, is our emotional experience and capacity. See, the thing with ChatGPT, when you put in relationship information and questions, and I've done it, I've tested it out, I've wanted to see how it responds to me, is that it's giving you brilliant information, brilliant information. Yet at the same time, that brilliant information, we are filled up with information. You and I don't need any more information. And that is a big part of the difficulty in using ChatGPT for relationship advice. And this is because it bypasses the emotional understanding of what's going on. It will give you all of the tips in the world. It will give you all of the steps and reasoning and logic behind a struggle that you have in relationship. But we don't need more tips in this world. We don't need more steps. We need to know how to be in ourselves. So you need to know how to be in your physical body without getting flooded while in relationship with another human being. Because this is what we want, right? We want that depth of intimacy to feel safe and seen and heard by another person. And you can't do that from your mind. There's a level of safety that comes with chatting with ChatGPT about your relationship struggles, a level of safety that is very different from when you're working with a mentor or a therapist. And that is because there is no nervous system. So you are not seeing and feeling the response of what you're sharing, or the confusion or the dilemma that you are in, from a person sitting across from you. Because when we are in relationship with each other, whether it's on like something like Zoom or a voice note, or even a text message, our systems, our nervous systems, our emotional systems, our mental systems, these electromagnetic fields that surround us are interacting all the time. We are exchanging energy with each other. A language model like ChatGPT does not have that. So you are not receiving feedback from your external environment of another biological biological being. And so you cannot attune your system in how to be in right relationship. Because what's happening is the way that you engage with another person, you learned that as a child. And when we run up against ourselves, we had, like, for me, for example, it was always shutting down and going into people pleasing and just saying yes all the time. So when I would say yes all the time, I could type into, let's say, for example, I could write all day long. This was back in the day, long before AI. I could write all day long about what I actually wanted to share with someone. But when I got into their field and was in interaction with them, my nervous system would default to my old way of being, which is what I learned in my family of origin, how I grew up. So if you're not being confronted with the opportunity to rewire your nervous system in relationship with another, you're keeping yourself in safety while you're understanding what you need to say and what you need to do. If you're not in direct practice with that, it's not going to change. You're still going to have to engage with another person in order to develop the electromagnetic, physical, emotional, and mental fortitude and resiliency to engage with someone else. And this has us bypassing our body for logic. And we don't need more logic. We need to learn how to feel with one another without going into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawning response. This is how you will change your relationship with your husband or your best friend or your children, is to learn to reattune your nervous system to cultivate safety, even if it feels strained between you and another person. AI is showing up in so many human spaces. I mean, I use it to organize my thoughts. I use it sometimes to put in like eclipse information and tell me what this means, right? So that I can understand it at a different level with specific questions if I'm not in a session with my astrologer at the time. But AI is stepping into places as being a therapist. And there's a real danger to this because you program your AI with your voice and your perspective. So I put in a practice, like I made up a scenario and put it into my ChatGPT, which I use to help me organize all of my thoughts around what I'm here to offer you in my group program Sanctuary, in my relationship archetype quiz, which you can click below and take it if you want to. You get all of this information around the difficulties of what you experience in relationship, but also the gifts of what you experience in relationship. So my AI is full of this type of the way that I perceive the world, the way that I mentor and coach women to show up authentically as themselves in relationship. So my chat answered my pretend relationship dilemma in the same way that I would. And I asked it, I said, "Are you answering me because of my information, what I have told you?" And it was like, "Yes." And I said, "If you didn't have this information, would you answer me differently?" "Yes." And so this is biased, right? Because I can only see my own relationship struggles from my own perception, limited perception. This is why I have very close friends and mentors that I work with to help me see a bigger picture of what's going on for me in relationships, because I will miss things when it comes to myself. And my trusted people in my life will challenge my biased perspectives, because sometimes our biased perspectives are created from pain and fear. And the only way to shift what's happening in our life is to have someone who challenges that. And unless you have programmed your AI bot to really challenge you, it's not going to do that. I heard a story from a friend of mine who is also a therapist and mentor. And she was at a community fire, and she met a man there who they started talking. And she asked him why he was there. And he said, "Oh, my chatbot told me I would meet the love of my life here tonight. So I listened and came." And my friend, who's deeply curious, asked this man, oh, how did that work? And the man said, well, I programmed this chatbot to be my therapist and my like psychic. And it told me to come here tonight, to break up with my other girlfriend and to come here to meet the woman of my dreams, my true love. It didn't happen. So I mention this because this is really important for us to understand, is that there's a level of our minds play tricks on us. Our minds create meaning out of everything. And so this is why we need other people to reflect different truths back to us so that we cultivate discernment within our own systems and our own bodies. A chatbot cannot reflect back to you if you are programming it with your perspective. It can hook into your mind and really not, like, we need to be able to challenge our own perspectives and perceptions in this world. It is required for intimacy and deeper relationships because every single person on the planet has a different experience and perspective. And no one will ever agree that there is only one way. And so when it can really hook into the mind and create, I mean, some people are calling it psychosis, create an illusionary life that you're living in. So presence with another human being is the most healing thing you can experience. It also has the potential to be one of the scariest things. And this is because your nervous system is wired for connection in relation to your survival. And so if you are sitting in relationship with another person and there is friction, your nervous system will go back to when you were a child and how it experienced friction. And without proper entrainment, it will default to its old way of getting that connection back. Because for a human baby, connection is akin to survival. Without your parents or an adult's care, feeding you, bathing you, keeping you warm, you will not survive. So that presence is what heals. All of the struggle that we have in our relationships happens in relationship. The repair needs to happen in relationship. You can go and sit on a mountaintop or talk to ChatGPT all day long and feel totally enlightened about your relationships. This is a parable. I forget who said it. You go sit on a mountaintop, you become enlightened, but the true test is going home for a Christmas dinner with your family. Then see how enlightened you are. And that is because it hits on the original wounding of your nervous system in this body in this lifetime. So AI will give you scripts, right? Oh my goodness, it has all of the tips in the world. Say this, you can write this, you can do this, you can do this, do this. Here's a practice. It's like never ending. Scripts. But if you are someone who swallows all of her words and then goes into shutdown because you have an abandonment wound, and when you enter into some type of conflict with even a customer at your job, the AI scripts are not going to help you to regulate so you can create a different experience for yourself. If you are making love to your husband and you suddenly start to dissociate and because of something from the past or because of something that's happening in the present for you, AI can tell you all of the reasons why that is happening and how to communicate that to your husband. But that is an incredibly vulnerable thing to talk about. It's going to hit on all of these different wounds of yourself and your husband. And it takes tremendous skill of being in your body and communicating with your voice to actually be able to sit in deep attunement and put down all of your defenses so that you can come back together again. And all of these things that we struggle with, I've just had this sticky situation with a friend, and it was really challenging. And I am very I mean, I teach this stuff. I know how to create these types of deep, meaningful connections. I have moved through a lot of difficulties with a lot of people in my life, my family included, and men who have caused me a lot of harm. And even still, my nervous system will get agitated and start to feel afraid, and it will trigger me back into feeling like a little girl, just like when the original wounding occurred. So it's like going to the gym. You're learning a new skill, and you don't get that skill through information. So as you're listening to me talk about this, just pause. Let's pause for just a moment and take a breath. And notice what's happening for you in your body. Are you spinning in thoughts? Is your stomach clenching? Are you feeling excited and light? Just notice what's happening. Because even though you're watching this recording of me, you are also attuning to my voice, my human voice that is imperfect in how it speaks, that stumbles over words sometimes, that has a very unique to me intonation and frequency. You are receiving that into your ears, and that has impact on you. And so just be here with this. Like, this is where AI takes us out of our direct experience, as it goes immediately into this, like, what's next and what's next and what's next. And really what we need to learn is how to be with each other, with our emotions, in relationship. What we're doing right now, it's called co-regulation. So, if you're like, if there's a little kid, I think of my nephews. I think of my nephew a lot. And I remember taking him to this a trampoline. It's called Squirrel something. There's trampolines everywhere, and kids jumping on trampolines everywhere. And he's a very outgoing little boy, but he is also very sensitive to sounds and noise, and he picks up on a lot of stuff. And so we entered in, and he was all excited, and then it was so busy, and he kind of froze a little bit. And so what I did is I just sat next to him. I just sat next to him, and I said, "Yeah, I get overwhelmed by a lot of noise too." He's 6. I get overwhelmed by a lot of noise as well. There's a lot of people in here, so let's just chill out for a minute together. And within minutes, he was like, "Okay, Auntie, I want to go play now." And so what happened there is his nervous system went into an activated state. There's a lot of people, and I can't relax. And then what I did is I co-regulated with him by being really calm and sitting next to him and speaking in a tone that was like, there's no rush. Let's just chill. Let's be still. And his vagus nerve picked that up and went, oh, I'm actually safe. He co-regulated to my body and then was like, ooh, now his nervous system goes, I can go play now. This is so important for us. It's so important for us. It's also why, um, if your child is having a hard time and you are not regulated, you can co-regulate to them and fly off the handle. It's simply an exchange of information that is happening through your autonomic nervous system as well as the electromagnetic field around you. So we all have these different types of relational patterns that we're here to deal with in this lifetime. Mine are unique to me, yours are unique to you. I created a quiz for you, the relationship archetype quiz, so that you can actually start understanding your patterns. And the key to this is that in your patterns that you find keep you stuck, there are huge gifts in those patterns that you are actually here to bring into relationship. So, this is why our personal exploration of ourselves is so important because it actually, who you are, like for example, me, people pleasing, being a yes woman, right? Those actually have very valuable skills in them that I get to bring into my relationships that are full of compassion and deep understanding of another person's experience. And you will probably have different skills or similar ones. So the link is below for you if you want to do the quiz. And just thank you so much for being here with me.